That'll do it. I'm just gonna do 3 little ones. If I can, 4 would be great. Oh man. Oh, this just like broke off and not even like... I have had this bucket of segments in my shop for about 3 years now. I don't even know what the plan was with these, but they're here and they've been collecting dust and I want to do something with them. I can't even remember how many segments in a ring that these are for. I do know that they are white oak and red oak. And honestly, looking at them, I just don't want to glue them up and turn them into another bowl. So as I was playing around with them and thinking of things I could do, I stood them up like this. And then I started kind of just segmenting them standing up, thinking that could look cool. And then I got an idea. Seeing this pattern from the top down instantly made me think of acoustic panels that you would see, you know, in a home office or in a sound booth or something like that. And I immediately got inspired to make one. So that is what we're gonna make. We're gonna make an acoustic panel with segmented pieces. But here's the problem. If I want to use these, and let's say I want a panel that's, you know, 3 feet by 2 feet, I'm gonna need basically all of the segments that I have here. So I'm thinking, instead of just doing this basic pattern, I still have more scraps from my last video and just all around my shop. Why don't I cut some more, maybe bigger, longer segments and mix them in and see if I can't make some cool patterns to add to this. This is just an experiment. I've never done anything like this. I haven't even really thought this through. I just think that it looks cool and I want to try it. I'm kind of letting my creativity just lead the way here. So let's get started. So really quickly, I did throw these into a ring just to see how many segments are in the ring and to determine what angle it was cut at. And there are 16 segments per ring. I don't think that the degree or the number of segments in a ring really matter with this kind of a project. So I'm just gonna use a number 12 wedgie and cut my next batch out with that. For the contrasting segments, I'm gonna be using walnut. I still have plenty of scraps left over of walnut, so I don't mind using it. And I'm going to be cutting these much longer than the oak segments. That should help fill in the gaps and fill in the spaces so I can get more panels out of this project. Okay. This is all of the walnut segments that I was able to get from my scraps. I really don't want to pull more lumber off the rack and mill it and cut it up and stuff. I want this to strictly be scrap use. So this is it. Now, as I have been cutting, I have been thinking how I want to do this. I started out thinking I want 3 panels, but with the amount of wood that I have, I was thinking, what about one sort of long panel? That might be cool. I'm also thinking about the space this is gonna go in. This is gonna go downstairs in my office and it's gonna go on a wall. And I'm not sure how I want it to look. I was thinking about 1, 2, 3 panels, but they're all gonna be kind of small and that might not look so good. So I'm kind of thinking if I just do one long, narrow panel, that might look kind of cool, or like one big square one. So I'm gonna get out the plywood that I'm planning on using for this, and then I can kind of get a better concept about it. So in order to keep the weight down to a minimum, I was gonna use 1/4-inch plywood, but I don't have any. So I do have this 1/2-inch Baltic birch, which is fairly heavy, but it's not the heaviest. I have this large piece, and it is 17.5 inches wide, and then I can cut it however I want. We could do either like, you know, 17 tall and this far, or we could make it 17 wide and do kind of the bigger panel like I was thinking. I also have this smaller guy who is 9 inches wide, and this was the one I was thinking you could do a long panel with it. But honestly, I don't know how much space all of this stuff is going to take up. I think I need to doodle out a design and kind of play around with it. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do based off of I don't want to waste a lot of material. I think, well, let me show you my design ideas. So we're going to use this little guy, and I would love to do something like this or like this, but honestly I don't think I have enough wood between all of these to do a super big panel. So I think I'm just gonna do 3 little ones. If I can, 4 would be great, but I'm just gonna use this as my base idea. So this is 9, and I think I'll cut it basically in half, which I think is like 25 or something like that. And then I'll take the other board I have over here and cut it to the same width and do it like that. That way I get the most out of it. It's narrower than I would like, but I'm also gonna put a frame on here so I can kind of widen it out just a little bit. All right, now the fun part. Designing. I got 4 of these little panels, and now I'm just gonna start laying out these segments and see what happens. Creative mode activated. The first pattern I've played with, I'm not a fan of. It's too boring, it's too simple. The second pattern I tried, I kind of like it. I think it looks pretty good. I'm not in love with it, but I think we're getting there. All right, this is the third design, and I think I'm gonna go with this one. I love the chaotic pattern of it, yet it still is patterned, and you can see that. And it just looks good, and also it basically perfectly fits on this board. So I think it'll look good. This is one we're gonna roll with. So one thing I did realize is as I'm doing this, there's no way I'm gonna get 4 panels with what I have here. I'll be lucky if I get one. Which is a little sad, but this is an experiment. I'm doing this for fun. Let's just do it and let's see what we come up with. Okay, here's the game plan. I clamped down a fence right here, and I clamped down a fence right here. That way I can slide this into that, and it's mostly just to make sure that my first row is straight. I'm going to be using only wood glue to hold these down. It's a little risky, but I think it'll work out just fine. I think what I'm gonna try and do, so this goes quickly, is lay down a bunch of glue on this, spread it out, and then just start going. Maybe not the best idea, but I think it'll work. I'm not sanding these pieces or anything. What they are is what they are. Call it artistic expression. That's just how we're gonna do it. So let's go. Not bad, but I seriously overestimated how many segments I have in that bucket, and I also underestimated how many segments it would take to just fill up this little strip of 1/2-inch plywood. I still have a ton of these now, so that's cool. This is all I'm gonna be able to get, 1 panel, which is a little bit of a bummer and funny because I honestly thought I was gonna get 4 or 3. All right, we are officially in the next day, and I'm pretty sure I glued this piece to the fences accidentally. Hopefully it's not that bad, but we'll find out. Running my hands over everything feels pretty solid. I know there is for sure some worry with some of you that just sticking glue and just force pressing these on isn't gonna be enough, but I think it is. I'm really not terribly worried about it. Plus, it's not like this is gonna be used for anything. It's literally just gonna sit on one of these walls somewhere. That's another thing I decided. I'm not gonna put this down in my office. I'm just gonna put it up here somewhere. I love the idea of it, but the wall space that I have down in my office, there's not really anywhere that this would go and look aesthetically pleasing. So yeah, that's let's see if we can just pull these off though. They shouldn't be too stuck on there. Oh man. Oh, this just like broke off and not even like, okay, cool. I'll just glue that back on there. I think I need a mallet. That'll do it. Oh yeah, barely glued on there, perfect. Okay, this thing is pretty sweet. It's not like the prettiest or like the best sanded or anything like that, but I like it, and honestly, that's all that matters. So we do have a nice straight edge here because the piece didn't quite reach all the way, which is good. So we have this straight edge. We're gonna run this along the table saw and cut this edge straight as we can. Hopefully I don't break off any pieces or ruin it in any way, and then we'll cut this edge straight, and then we can get started on figuring out what we're gonna do for a frame. All right, we got this nice and straight lined on all sides. And I've been looking up here in my lumber rack and just looking at all of the wood that I have and kind of thinking about what I could use for a frame. And I don't want to use any of it. I don't know what's wrong with my brain that I don't want to use all that perfect lumber behind me, but I'm kind of mad at myself still for cutting up all of these panels, having the audacity and thinking that I would fill them all up with these little buckets of scrap. So I'm going to use this. This is 1/2 inch Baltic birch, and this is going to be our frame. It's going to be super simple, but I also think that it will look pretty nice as a little border on the outside. Okay, before I go all the way on committing to this, I just wanted to test it real quick and see if I like it. I gave it, well, maybe you guys can see it better like this. I'm giving it just a tiny bit of an overlap so it hangs, so it looks like it's inside a box, but I think I'm gonna like it. Yeah, I like the white, I like the white wood on the edges. I think that's gonna look sweet. Yeah. Okay, we're committed. We're doing this. These two pieces are basically perfect. They do need to be trimmed down a little bit since I trimmed down this. But I just gotta cut this piece and sand this stuff, and then we will assemble it. Okay, sticking with the theme of simplicity, we are just going to glue and brad nail on the frame. Nice and simple. And while I'm doing that, a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Anonymous. The sponsor of this video wanted to stay anonymous, and they just wanted to let you guys know that they are part of this community and they are here with you guys. They also, for some reason, enjoy the work that I do, and they wanted to sponsor the shop and sponsor the video. So head down to the comments and give a huge shout out to this video sponsor, because without them, a lot of my videos would not be happening. So here's to you, anonymous sponsor. Thank you. Oh man, that looks awesome. Let's get some finish on it. For the finish, we're going with Krylon lacquer. Super simple. All right, guys, there it is. I think it's pretty cool. You know, up close, it's probably kind of ugly. Honestly, just for something that I came up with, I think it looks really good and I'm really proud of it. This is kind of a project that I think I also really needed. It was just something that I could do quick and it allowed me to have creative expression, and I like it. It does have about 5 coats of lacquer on there because it was pretty hard to get the lacquer in every little crevice, but I really tried to get lacquer on everything. I'm really glad I went with the Baltic birch frame. I feel like it contrasts really well with the actual piece, but it also complements it. This piece was meant to get rid of a lot of my scraps, and it did just that. And with that, and also giving me a fun little project for the weekend, I'm gonna say that this thing is a winner. I hope that this video inspired you guys and makes you also want to just be creative and get out in your shop and make something. I think small projects like this are just such a great way to boost your creativity and give you a little bit of confidence. At least that's how I feel. Let me know what you guys think about this little art project down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And that's it for me. Be good, be safe, be happy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!